So let's get into some ETN here. I got a couple good cut-ups here in line. First one is versus Boston College. He had a good game here. Let me make sure.
You could basically click any ETN game and say, he had a good game.
Yep.
Dude had an incredible career.
Yeah. Hold on here.
And the thing I like too is that and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he had this big of an expectation coming into Clemson.
Here we go.
No, he didn't have the hype that some of these other players did.
Mm-hmm. He didn't have the hype of Feaster, who's supposed to be the guy.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for a guy that worked hard, and now he's just catch me if you can.
Sounds like he's a great kid too.
Georgia boy, right?
I thought he's Louisiana.
Oh yeah, you're right. Louisiana, you're right.
Yeah. So surprised everybody on the deadline day to declare if he was coming out or not.
And on the run, flea flicker. Throws him a bit. And on the run, the hand
right there. I mean, that's an efficient, just little subtle jump cut.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn the volume down.
He's an efficient mover too. I like that. Do you know how many stars he was coming out? I do not know the off the top of my
I believe
head.
he was a 4-star.
I was gonna say we can look it up real quick.
Look at that. That's just.
He just explodes, man.
Well, but he knows the angle. He knows how far he has to go to not get tackled here.
Yep. And that's one thing you won't see a ton is he's not a huge side-to-side mover, but you're right. He's very efficient in his movements, little subtle moves here and there just to break off the angles of the defenders.
Can you go back one more time?
This angle?
That's fine. Either way, just going through. Remember and again, I don't know if you guys were doing this then, but last spring when the whispers came out, he gets nervous when a pass gets thrown his way.
It was because of that quote.
And he said it, but I think he's just being too honest. He's just a kid.
What was the quote?
Look at him right here.
It was more or less that he gets nervous when the ball's thrown. He starts looking around like.
Right.
He improved a lot as a pass catcher this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you say, Jared? Sorry.
I said, why would you ever say that?
Wow.
Yeah, so he was 4 stars coming out, it looks like. 15th overall running back. 9th prospect in Louisiana.
Ooh, that burst.
Good night. I mean, that's a big hole. I'll just say that right there. It's a big hole. So
it's a huge hole.
He did, but you can see the burst.
Before everything came out that he was going to go back to school, he was the guy that I wanted to end up in Baltimore. I thought him and Lamar Jackson would have been so much fun.
For sure.
I mean, as a Browns fan, I would have hated that, but
yeah. Off the top, do you guys have any it's too early to say, but do you think there's any NFL teams that you can project needing a running back next year that would be a good landing spot for these guys? Texans a good one. Falcons, I feel like, would be. They just traded for Gurley, or
Chicago
didn't trade him. So Chicago
forever. Chicago.
Can we, while we have this going on, what do you guys think about all of the rumors of supplemental draft?
I think it's likely to happen. However, I don't think guys like ETN and Hubbard are going to come out just because of the amount of money that they would lose out on.
Would they be losing that much? Would it draft? And honestly, I'm asking that as a genuine question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is the contract structuring different for the supplemental draft than it would be for the regular NFL draft?
I believe so, and I've looked for the exact numbers, but I haven't found them yet.
Okay.
But I think it's be like a substantially different amount than like a first round or second round draft pick, which is weird to me because if a team is going to forfeit like a first round 2021 pick to pick a guy,
it should be the same.
They should be the same. Yeah. So
right. But it won't be a draft slot though. You know what I mean? It would just be like a general first round pick value, a general second,
whatever they get.
It would be top 5 or So.
What do you guys think?
I mean, this is just such a weird time. I mean, guys could declare. and going with supplemental. Like, is that because there's not going to be a college season, but there could be a pro season? I mean, it could be weird,
It would be weird to have one without the other. That would jack everything up more so than both either not happening or happening.
Right.
I read something a couple days ago about it possibly taking place in the spring. Just because the amount of these programs, there's so many other like sports that operate on the revenue that football generates for a lot of these universities. So like if football doesn't happen, they're losing out on so much money. Mm-hmm. And like even if the season does happen, I was talking to Ray about this the other day, like there's still going to be so many people not coming to games, not buying food, not buying beer, and like it's just crazy the trickle effect that all of this is having.
Well, and there's only a few universities. I don't know what the exact number is. I know about 6-7 years ago, there was only 7 universities that were actually self-sufficient in their athletic program. And it was the biggest ones. It was, Ohio State, Alabama, Texas, USC. Like it was the biggest ones were self-sufficient. Other ones they were in the negative as far as like their revenue and stuff like that. And you can only imagine that it's going to be even more difficult without most of the school's main money makers, with the exception of like Duke, basketball would be their bigger money maker. But I would guess 80% of colleges, football is their biggest money maker.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you. All right, let's get back into it. Sorry, just an idea. I just was curious what you guys thought.
Yeah, no, it's a good conversation. It's a hot topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, he's so fast.
Well, that's just understanding angles. Like right there, he's like, nope, and he redirects to go wider. That's just smart. Right here, watch his initial path there. Nope, wider.
Yep. And
he knows his speed.
And for a lighter back, he's not being brought down very often by arm tackles, which is impressive because I think he's probably only weighing in at 205 range. He's not a big kid.
He's 215, I thought.
That was what Clemson listed him as on the site. But I think like his official weigh-in, I think I'll go back, but right before the season, I think it was 207 on their like official weigh-in day.
I know he said he ate too much home cooking and got up to like 218, I think, in the spring. And
he's so honest.
Wanted to lose some. I know. So.
I read an article earlier that he like skipped classes for a few days before making his announcement to play 2K with his buddies and stuff. Just to clear his head. It's like, all right.
Wow. Maybe that's an issue, being too honest.
Yeah. You don't have to tell
us.
Look
at that.
I mean, right there. I mean, you're worried about the size, and I'm not.
I didn't say I was worried about that. Okay. I said he does not get brought down by arm tackles for somebody that's a little bit undersized.
Yeah. So I mean, right there, that's... Go ahead, Jared. I'm sorry.
Somebody asked in the chat if there's any issues with his pad level. They feel like he runs a little high. It's poused.
Well, I think that's the style now. I think guys generally run high and then they get low if there's contact coming. I don't think people run low anymore. And that's just because guys are lighter. Defenders are lighter. But they don't have to, look at that. He got 2 guys, lowers his shoulder, then another one. Man, that's impressive.
Yeah, and on top of being super explosive and fast, I always felt like he had good contact balance.
Mm-hmm. Come on, T-Law. That was a bad snap, actually.
It was.
Right there. And I know people are like, well, that's a 2-yard gain. You want to go back? There's a guy in the hole. And knows that and cuts off of it. Stop it right there. If you can go back.
Yeah, sorry. Here.
Fine.
Do you want me to slow it down?
Well, I'm just saying, if you try, go bit by bit, you can just see it. But look how big or how quick this reaction time has to be. Gets the hand off now. Now you can see. Nope, one-on-one with a guy. Nope, I can cut off of here. And he's not a humongous cutter, but that's enough.
Well,
this is it. Gets 2 yards versus not getting 2 yards.
With me too, this is something that I bring up more often than I probably even need to. But a big thing for me is watching a running back's feet on contact. When guys' legs go dead, that's a big concern for me. You see, even through that run, his legs were still going, got him that extra yard or so.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's some guys over here. PK Fool 3, 4, 5. What are our thoughts going into next year? We're going to get to that. That's what this process is. Better power than the big running back on the other side of the field. Touche there, Josh. And we'll get to some of the other stuff too.
Broken tackle.
Hey, AJ Dillon's backup last year, David Bailey. He's nice.
I actually low-key liked him a little bit more than Dillon.
Yeah, I like his game a little bit, so I picked him up in a C2C league.
There you go. So, I mean, this one, it's, he should break this tackle of 34. This one, he's fighting. Like, I love that fight.
Mm-hmm. I got to start letting the play out and then running it back. Saw some YouTube comments getting pissed at me for it.
but even there, he sees that guy and adjusts to 34, so he can't have the angle on him. He's just an efficient runner. I really like efficient runners.
Yeah.
This is what Cam Akers is not.
He sees it and just takes it, man. And he can take it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted,
I'm trying to remember this game. I watched a lot of his. I don't know if he has any like crazy massive long runs in this game, but he has a lot of runs like this where it's like just good chunks of yardage. Yep. And it's funny because stylistically they're not the same runner, but in the open field he has some similarities to Jonathan Taylor where he's not going to make those big cuts, but just those subtle little adjustments to get those angles. Yeah, it's good to see.
And I love this angle too because he like starts like here in the A gap, and then like he keeps it there to attract the linebacker up to get that block.
Yeah.
And then he cuts.
Mm-hmm. And actually, if you stop this, I mean, when he has that initial A gap, and you read it, you might want to think backside A. You know what I mean? You see that opening there? He's gonna go up to him, but then that guy comes off of there. So that might be him understanding the scheme and pre-snap, which that's something people don't think about. I mean, running backs need to pre-snap and see where they think the holes are going to go. That's why Frank Gore's been great for years. He always talks about that. His pre-snap reads help him so much.
Yeah, this is a 5-on-5. Look at the box. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you got that backer that he beat there with 34. I mean, he's apexing, which if people know what apexing is when you split the difference between that slot receiver and the end tackle on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad read or anything he did there necessarily, especially because T-Law's doing the fake one hole over from him.
Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, he's fighting away here, making him a bit better cut in there. I don't think so. I think it's trash, and he got a yard out of it and kept his feet.
And he followed his blockers. I mean, he had the pulling guard right there.
Oh, that cut. Look at that cut. Has it. And he catches the ball, and then boom, there's a guy right there. So this is all reaction. Look at that. Keeps his feet.
Yeah, and he got in.
And that's the thing that I like so much about him is that people will watch highlights and they'll talk about his speed, but this is the part that I like about him. Good decisions, makes efficient cuts, and he runs tough. Honestly, Garrett, I know that you're a huge Vaughn fan. If you want to take like Keyshawn Vaughn and put him on steroids and take like 0.1 or more off of his 40 time, that's who Etienne is.
I don't hate that. I would have never put that together had you not said that. But I actually don't hate that because he really is just a faster Keyshawn Vaughn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, efficient in every way. Tough.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Not going to make the spectacular move. Good catcher, but nothing like crazy special in that area.
Mm-hmm. And the reason Etienne is so much better, I think, is I think he has a little better contact balance than Vaughn, but then he has the speed.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we got some questions in here. Is it wrong to think he looks like a little like Kamara with his improved pass catching this past year?
I think Kamara's a lot more agile than Etienne in terms of making people miss. And his contact balance is ridiculous, which I think Etienne's is good, but that's what makes Kamara special. Kamara can't touch Etienne's straight line burst, in my opinion. That they're different in that way.
Yeah. Anybody have a pro comp for him? Cody's asking.
Yeah, we just kind of did that, I think. I mean, we did
okay,
a college comp.
I was doing something real quick.
Yeah, I was trying to think of some in the preseason that I loved at the NFL level, and there wasn't any that I loved because a lot of the speed players don't have the contact balance and the toughness that I think Etienne has, and so that's why I had a hard time. You could go to the generic like, oh, Chris Johnson, like you can go with those generic comps, but I think Etienne is much better between the tackles than Chris Johnson ever was. And I think even though I think his straight line speed is good, I think it's his acceleration that is special. Once he gets going, like he's still got very good speed, but it's that right now, right off of contact, right off of catching a pass, right off of getting the handoff. That's what's really, really special. And that's what creates that separation and that yardage at the NFL level.
And the thing too is, I think that if you want to make like a comp, I mean, like you're saying, like Chris Johnson, those kind of stuff. I don't think he has. I think his time speed's going to disappoint people, but he makes the quick decisions to use his athletic gifts quicker than most people. He's aggressive in traffic. He's aggressive at the second level. He kind of runs recklessly even. Here's another comp that's a little bit different. You want to think of a smaller version or probably a better cutting version of Jonathan Taylor. You get a guy, you cut about 10 or 15 pounds off of him, kind of similar. Not amazing hands, solid hands, efficient movers.
I don't hate that. I kind of like that actually because their movement style when they're running with the ball is very similar. They're not like
what
jump
I just
cutters.
said, but now Nick's going to get the credit for it, so it's fine. Literally said Jonathan Taylor 10 minutes ago, but whatever.
Did you really?
Did you?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
I said it's those subtle movements after he gets the ball.
Wow.
He doesn't make any big cuts. It's very similar to Jonathan Taylor.
Wow.
Rich
Run the tape back. Run
Rich.
it back.
Man. I had you on mute like normal. So
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, Garrett talks. I'm just like tuning it out. I'm just kidding.
well, maybe I was reading comments.
The hilarious part is Rich literally did that last night on the Nerds podcast.
Did he?
Where I was talking, and of course, Rich goes on forever. So I get my like 30 seconds in, and then it's like dead air, and I was like, Rich? He's like, oh wait, what? Huh?
We got one over here. This is fun. So Tiny Detree. Do you guys think Will Shipley coming in changed anything for Etienne next year?
No.
Man, you're a Devy guy. Talking about Will Shipley already.
No.
I don't think so. I think, Travis Etienne. I mean, people want to talk about T-Law, I think Etienne's more important to that team than T-Law is. I think you're going to feed him.
That's spicy.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence is good. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Here's a good route, man. Like, it's not a bad route out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm. But, Etienne is, you want to think about some of that game. I mean, you could get an average quarterback and get, 70% of what T-Law's doing, but you're going to get another running back in there. Think of Feaster,
Good physical run.
Mm-hmm. But that's patient to let that open up.
Yeah, I wonder if they replay this year.
Oh, that'd be great if they could.
Yep, they do.
So to answer your question, I think they're going to just ride Etienne. Oh yeah, but look, he knows he's washing that down.
Yeah, he sees the block coming.
Patient. Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
Yes, that's.
Because this is a lot of shit here.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead, Garrett.
No, it would have been tempting to go to the right there, but that was going to close up real quick, and he saw that, so he got him to bite to go to the right, and then get skinny through that hole.
Mm-hmm. Get physical.
That's what I'm saying, he's a way better mover. Some of the thread says
I'd like
Felix
to see him
Jones.
get his pads down a little lower, but he still manages to run the guy over.
But he kind of goes sideways there. You can kind of see with that contact, and that's smart too.
Yeah,
because you try and go square on that. I don't think he's going to fit through as much.
He does have a very you see it much more so on the longer runs, but he has a very unique gait to his run.
Yes.
It's more of a gallop than it is Ruggs is it's real pretty when he does it. His is he's galloping but he's cruising though, man.
Yeah. Well, remember AP was kind of like that, where he's
Yeah. There's almost like a little hitch in it.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting with Etienne is he oddly has some flexibility in weird ways he contorts himself to make cuts and break tackles and stay, upright. That's one thing I kind of enjoy with him on film.
One thing I will say from going back, and we haven't got to see much of it so far tonight in this game, but he is not very good in pass protection. That is something he will have to get better at.
Man, look at that cut.
They love running that play, that delay, draw.
That was some good side-to-side agility.
Yeah.
That was good.
Not bad. What's up, Ed? Ed Garcia said, what's up?
Okay, so do you guys see Joseph's comment over here?
Might have missed it. Let's see.
It's on the bottom.
Go Tigers.
How do you say that word?
Go. It's
go.
French.
That's why I like Burrow when he did that.
Okay. I have no clue. That's why I was going to ask. No idea. Okay.
I think the real pronunciation is Go Tigers.
Was that your Louisiana accent?
Wow.
No, that's my Ed Orgeron.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not bad.
That's still bad, but I can live with it.
That's funny.
Yeah, how's he keep his composure and see this?
Man, and he's not worried about the trash either. Like, that's just
That he beat
confident in your abilities.
These guys have this angle too. Look at this.
I know. Does he outrun this angle?
Yep.
Oh, that's dirty. Oh, that's dirty.
Run it back full speed again.
How does he? He's like Houdini.
Garrett, that's that stop start you're talking about.
It's special. I legitimately, and I know it's high praise for a guy that hasn't even come out yet, but like I don't know that I can confidently say that I've ever seen somebody that can get from 0 to 60 that quickly. Like that acceleration is just, it's special. I can't pinpoint one player that I think does it definitively better than him.
And that's why I would have him top in this class if he came out.
Him and Swift were battling that entire time for me, and then he didn't come out, and broke my heart.
I got him in so many Devy leagues.
So we got
I don't know how to.
Florida State game here. Oh,
and he can
slinging it,
doing his Nick Whalen.
Oh yeah, right. Man, he doesn't even load it.
He doesn't.
I don't know. That more like
no hip rotation, all arm.
I think
he said, I'm getting it there.
Travis May throwing form there.
Oh, that is Travis May throwing form.
Hey, I seen your video, Travis. I seen it.
I was talking down about Justin Ross.
He's in my league.
Someone else will cover at some point.
Yeah, he had a real disappointing sophomore campaign. I shouldn't say real disappointing, but compared to what the expectations were.
Well, the expectations came from the playoff run. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go prior to that, it was okay freshman year.
Look at that. Keep churning those legs.
Yeah. But I think he's just not the athlete that people thought he could be. I think he's the limited athlete.
Justin
good ball
Ross.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah, real good ball skills, but I agree. I mean, I think his athleticism is a little better than what T. Higgins shows.
I like Higgins more as an athlete.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll break him down at some point.
Right.
Look at that. He's even getting knocked over, and his legs are still going. Like he just can't. Like I love that. I love it. Even in the air,
he knocks the shit out of that safety too.
Do you want to go back the play before? Sorry, there was one thing I liked that he did here. So obviously he's going super fast through here, and it's an open hole. But he has a lot of choices here. He can go outside of Ross. He could go between those two. He could go inside of 3, right? But he dips inside of 3, trying to bait the corner, and then tries to split the 2 receivers here, which I'd like. He doesn't initially go there. He tries to bait him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's next level stuff, because he's like, well, this is about even. I'm going to try this and see what happens.
Nick, what do you think his 40 will be? Because, everybody's seen the video of him and Isaiah Simmons.
The experts.
Running back and forth. And basically the exact same time they stopped at the very end, it looked like Etienne got it. So, I mean, that tells us he's probably running right around a 4.4 flat.
That's what I was going to say.
4.39. So he's going to be in that 4.37 to 4.41 range probably.
Mm-hmm. And I think probably like a 4.42 is about what I think he's going to get. You think the official times? I don't think it really matters. We know he's fast. I don't think he's going to be a 4.35. I don't think he has that in him because I think he also
Chuba might.
And Chuba could.
He's a sprinter.
Gosh,
he was one of the
you guys
top
watch his film?
6 fastest 16-year-olds in the country when he was 16. It's crazy.
Do you guys see his film in Canada?
No.
In high school?
I know he's like this like ultra popular athlete, the like celebrity in Canada.
It's just interesting watching Canada high school football tape.
I have to watch that. I bet it's unreal.
Yeah.
I saw he had over 3,000 yards in his high school like year or something, and they could have had like way more, but they took him out of the games all the time.
Kevin from Facebook asked, where would we have ranked Etienne and Chuba had they come out this year?
Here we go.
And so obviously we have to go with pre-landing spot because these guys don't get a landing spot. So pre-draft, where would you have had? I know Nick, you said you had him 1, right? You probably would have had him 1.
Yeah. Let me look at my rankings. If you want to go first, I can.
I probably would have ended up. It would have been very close between Swift, Etienne, and Dobbins. I would have had a very hard time differentiating them. Chuba would have been much lower for me. He would have been below Akers. He would have been below Vaughn. So he probably would have come in around 7 range in that ballpark. And had Najee come out, I would have had him ahead of him as well. So, yeah, probably around the 7 range for Chuba.
Yeah, we're the same. I just checked actually. So if we're counting everybody comes out that could have come out, Etienne would have been 1, and then I would have had the same way. I would have had Chuba behind Najee as well, so that would have bumped him down to 9.
Okay. Yep.
But like people say, like, oh, like you hate Chuba. Well, like I just don't think he's a superstar, similar to Akers, but still could be a decent back in the NFL. You know what I mean?
This is a great class. It's a very, very good deep class.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing I want to talk about as we're watching this game here is people, they really, really talk down about guys that go back to school. And I don't get it. I know people are like, oh, they're going to lose so much money. Do you know how cool it is for him to go back here, dominate college football, maybe win another national championship? You know you have a loaded team, be the big man on campus.
Yeah.
I loved college. I had so much fun there. There's not as much pressure as the NFL. And you're in the mix with all these other really good backs. It's like, man, go back to college, dominate again. You already know it's going to be good. The only issue is if you get hurt. And you know what?
Yeah.
People have that threat. Todd Gurley was a top pick, blowing his knee out. Chubb blew his knee out and was still a high second. I mean, what is the risk? If he, busts up his knee, he's still going to be a day 2 pick at worst.
Look at that. Look at that play. Run that back real quick. Could have easily gone out of bounds here. What does he do? Lowers his shoulder and actually almost kept his balance even.
That's that weird flexibility I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Even you were talking about his ability that first to stay in bounds. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's got some really good control.
Good vision here.
That's a good way to describe it, Nick. He rarely ever seems out of control when he's playing.
But there's some guys that just know one speed, and it's not good for him to do that. Oh, I see you, T-Law. Look at that fake.
T-Law is a fucking...
Ooh.
He's a hell of a runner, too.
Gosh. Oh, man, he almost broke that.
And that's the thing, like, we were talking about earlier, his size. People don't know how tough this guy is running traffic.
Well, and that's the thing. You mentioned that he could have lost some money, so to speak. I think he could have gained money. This was a very talented class. There was question whether he would be second round, like where he was going to go in there.
They gave him
some teams that maybe viewed him more as a scat back and
second round grade.
All of this stuff, and could fall to the third. Well, now he's probably going to be the top back in his class. And if there's any back right now that would go in the first, I would say it would be Etienne. I could see Najee as well. But, those would be the two that have the highest chance. I still think it's going to be very similar to this year where teams are just going to wait till the second. But
we're seeing more and more teams like they love speed, dude.
See, there I think he could have cut it back. Like he missed his hole here. I know he's reading the pullers, but backside could have been there.
He could outrun that guy.
That's a mess in there. He's trusting his blockers more, I think.
Yeah, I think he's trusting his blockers because was that 32, 42? 42 was unblocked, and he had the outside leverage there. So I don't know that he would have. I mean, he has the speed to maybe do it, but
right there, I think he missed it too.
Well, and that was an example of running high as well. He needed to get lower here. He kind of got popped.
Right. I mean, he could have cut to 75 his left tackle and then cut inside of 74. I think that's the play here.
Phil says, I think he can benefit of learning to change speeds. He's so fast it hurts his lateral agility sometimes.
Maybe, but we also saw him be really patient at the goal line too. You know what I mean? I don't think it's one of those things he doesn't have. Maybe he could be more consistent, but you know that one when he was waiting for them to double up the backer.
Pass pro here. All right, Garrett, coach him up.
Yeah, he can't drop his head though. Mm-hmm. that was the he made the play. He made the play, but one, you can't drop your head because a lot of times you're gonna miss. But two, you're gonna get yourself hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only time I'm okay with you cut blocking is if the guy is so much bigger than you, or it's a quick pass. Mm-hmm. This is not a quick pass. Ooh, unblocked.
That was poor effort on this one. I'll just throw my shoulder in.
Well, I think he was trying to come off to the blitzing backer there.
Look at that. Keep churning.
Yep.
Try to get low here.
Yep. Well, he was going to go outside of 33 and realized he couldn't, so he cut inside. And I mean, geez, he just gains yards.
And what happens if he does put on another 5 to 8 pounds of muscle? Like, does get stronger between the tackles and is able to still retain that speed.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. You got in the way. That's half the battle.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's what I was talking about. You know, he's not great in pass protection.
Well, he didn't attack him there. He waited.
I think both these guys we're watching tonight aren't great in pass protection.
No.
Oh, man. Again, huge hole. I get it.
Mm-hmm. Draw. They love their draws to Etienne, man.
Has to avoid the ref. Puts a move on him. Gosh.
Man, imagine, though, if he does decide, you know, the college football thing doesn't happen this year. He does decide to enter the supplemental draft. A team could get really lucky. I mean, a team could get really lucky. Like, Bill O'Brien could save his job if he gets ETN.
Yeah, but does he have any picks to spend?
Does he have them? Yeah.
I don't think he's traded anything into next year yet. I don't think. Right. I don't know. He could have.
I mean, an interesting thing is you know, we're talking about landing spots, you know, way in advance. You know, there's a bunch of guys that are going to be free agents. Green Bay, I know they just took Dylan, Dalvin Cook. You know, there's a bunch that class
is coming through.
Go to a lot of those places.
Yeah, Jacksonville could be interesting.
I wonder if Fournette is so underrated right now. It's disgusting.
He's a good player.
Jeez.
Look at this.
Oh. So he gets skinny too. I like that.
He does.
Got great balance.
Cuts it back in.
See, right there, you know, he slips, but he has the idea. Some guys are
my bad.
And this is
back too far.
You're okay. They're okay with it going to the second level and being a good enough run, and he's not. So right here, he cuts outside, uses his block, and then wants to cut inside a 10 here and slips. But at least he has the effort. Instead of like, oh, I'm okay getting tackled or going out of bounds. He wants to make the big play.
I'm surprised he made something out of this. I mean,
yeah. He gets skinny really well.
Let me see the pre-snap read here. How many are in the box? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, about 6, maybe 7 if you count the edge on the left-hand side here.
Yep.
Breaks.
I feel like he's already contacted
2
there.
tackles. Yep.
Yeah. Bad, poor tackling, but still, like... Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen it consistently where he keeps his legs driving. Mm-hmm. And he's so fast off of it, too.
Switches the ball.
Final thoughts, boys?
Like him
He's
a lot.
amazing.
You guys love him. I like him, too. I have him RB1 right now in that class, but...
it's hard because I was biased coming in. You know, I already knew I loved the kid. Like, I spent so much time watching his tape, which ended up not helping me for the season. But I spent so much time watching his tape already that I kind of already knew what was in store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if there was anything he needs to improve on, I think it's definitely his pass blocking.
For sure.
But that can come with time and just getting stronger and stuff like that.
That's the thing. Like, you look at his frame, he has room to fill out. You know, he's not little. I don't think he's this, 5'8", 5'9" running back. Like, he's what, 5'11", I believe?
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be
5'11", 2. Like I said, I think he weighed in at the Clemson weigh-in day at 207 or 208, something like that.
I'm pretty confident that he's going to go in the back of the first round, just based off of the tools that he's going to give to the NFL team that drafts him. Like, they're licking their chops to get this guy in their backfield.
I have heard a rumor, and this was part of the reason that I think Edwards-Helaire went in the first round, that teams are now considering more taking a running back in the first round, maybe not with a top 15, 20 pick, but because they get that 5th-year option, they can delay paying the guys. So they're becoming more open to taking running backs in the first round, especially in that 25 to 32 range.
Makes sense.
I would. I mean, if you get a good back for 5 years and then cut him loose.
Yep.
Or you could even get another year, potentially 2, if you use the franchise tag.
Yep. I mean, I think it makes sense. I think, people have this whole.
Business.
Well, here's the one thing too that just loads me about this, like, oh, running backs don't matter, blah 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 blah, all that kind of stuff. How many of these running backs completely bust? Not a ton. Like, they're going to be solid. Even people hate Fournette. Fournette's still a solid back in the NFL.
Yep.
But quarterbacks, left tackles, tight ends, corners, they get these high picks and they bust completely. Like, the only running back I can remember that busted completely that had these expectations was Trent Richardson, right? Other than that, they all do something. So